101 KUFO.
Giving you nothing but the show enough.
Portland's Rock.
Ground Zero. So this is where the first guy got AIDS.
Peter, this is the site of the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
Oh, so Saddam Hussein did this?
No.
The Iraqi army?
No.
Some guys from Iraq?
No.
That one lady who visited Iraq that one time?
No, Peter, Iraq had nothing to do with this. It was a bunch of Saudi Arabians, Lebanese, and Egyptians financed by a Saudi Arabian guy living in Afghanistan and sheltered by Pakistanis.
So you're saying we need to invade Iran?
The loudspeaker spoke up and said, the loudspeaker spoke up and said, the loudspeaker spoke up and said,
Who do you represent?
give up.
Who elected you? So what makes the country to your allegiance? Whose side are you on? Get the first one on here, hello?
I'm Clyde Lewis, and this is Ground Zero. Ground Zero coming to you live from Portland, Oregon. Yes, we are the home of all that rocks and all that's talk and all that's evil. Searching high and low for the best stories we can throw at you tonight. Hopefully get you to think a little bit, maybe get you to pick up your telephone and call us up. 1-800. It's 1-800-344-KUFO. I don't know why I drew a blank on that. I just did. 1-800-344-KUFO to call tonight. I guess the reason why I'm drawing a blank tonight is because of what I'm about to talk about. You see, this week has been a tough one for me. And I'll tell you why. There's so many stories to touch on. And one day out of the week, one day, I have to talk to you about what I think is the most important story of the week and probably the story that's going to most affect you. And that's why I talk about what I talk about. Because I'm thinking, I can talk about the underwear bomber, and I can talk about how that was all a stage thing, which it was. You can tell it was. Nobody's talking about the fact that the guy, when he was brought to the plane, some guy in a tuxedo. He said, hey, get this guy on the plane. Please get him on the plane. This is how it works in my country. You don't have to get on with a passport. Then you got all these people freaking out on airplanes. You got that guy here in Oregon that was on the plane. They had to call it back from Hawaii because he was ticked off because he wrote something down on a piece of paper that says, I hope the plane doesn't blow up. Some other guy in New Jersey gets thrown off a plane. And then meanwhile, people down on Earth are getting all pissed off at McDonald's. They're freaking out. They're like throwing their nuggets at people. Have it your way. Yeah, right. I want my way at McDonald's. So, there was so many things I could talk about. And I'll probably get to these topics if they gel and congeal a little bit and get all ugly and mucky and everything. And then last week, I'm still getting emails. I'm still getting all kinds of feedback about what I talked about last week, about the content and about the contact, the idea of this crazy alien voice from England and how people all freaked out about it and how, if cats go absolutely crazy, then that means aliens are talking to you on your radio. It's proof. My cat just gouged the eyes out of the other cat. That's proof. I don't know. Tonight, though, I know I'm going to piss everybody off. Tonight, I'm going to piss everybody off. I know I'm going to piss everybody off because I know what you think. I have my thumb, I have my fingers on the pulse that's barely beating in Portland, Oregon right now. I've got my cold little hand on the pulse. I've got my brain floating around in the zeitgeist. I know what's going on. And I'm going to lay it on down, and I'm going to lay it on down regardless of what you might think of me, no matter how heretical you may think I'm going to be tonight. I'm going to be heretical. First of all, I need to direct you to my website at www.groundzeromedia.org. I need you to go there. I need you to click on the breaking news links. Because if you want to follow along, I ain't got time to give you footnotes. I haven't got time to quote doctors and scientists and what have you. All I have is I have what I gathered together because it was right in front of my face, and I knew that this is what I had to talk about tonight. You know, I'm always searching for intellectual honesty. Because what I talk about, I like to play in the realms of the what ifs and the could be's and the what do you knows and the, I could be kidding, but then again, I'm very serious about what I'm kidding about. And see, I paid attention in history class. I was one of the loser nerd brains who decided, hey, it's okay to pay attention to your history teacher. One was because if I didn't finish history, if I got F's in history, I never would have graduated from high school. I barely graduated as it was because I was a delinquent. I didn't do anything but just sit around and expected my diploma to be given to me. So I paid attention in history class, and my history teacher said, now that you've done the dirty deed of finding out about history, now you have to find out more about history, and when you do, you're going to find out that you're had. Because there are two types of history. One is accidental history. Accidental history means that it's all happening because God wants it to happen that way. Or it's accidental. Oh, that happened. We didn't even know it was going to happen. We had no idea that was going to happen. And then there's another form of history. It's called the conspiratorial form of history. A conspiratorial form of history is where you say to yourself, oh, you know what? This has been done before. History's repeating itself. They've got a blueprint, and they're just following to connect the dots. That's what they're doing right now. And if I don't pay attention in history, and if I watch too much TV, if I'm watching too much stupid television, it's going to rot my brain, and I'm not going to know what the truth is. If I'm watching CNN, CNBC, if I'm watching NBC, ABC, CBS, if I'm watching those idiots, I'm going to get a soundbite or two that's not going to give me anything except a soundbite or two. So paying attention to history gets me here. And you need to pay attention to it because it's important to know this. In history, there was a group of people. They lived in a country, and in the country, their economy sucked. People didn't have jobs. They hated their government. They hated their leader. And they wanted another leader put into place. They demanded it. Because they didn't have enough money, or they couldn't use their money to buy a loaf of bread. The economy was so bad. So what did they do? They protested, they freaked out, and they decided to point the fingers and put the blame on people for their troubles, for the reasons why their country was falling apart. So lo and behold, their government building caught on fire, burned to the ground, and they blamed it on other people. So they declared war on these people, and they put in a new guy to run their show. He got the trains to run on time. He got people into work. He got them all pretty much happy. They were making money. They were all doing well. And they had great costumes they wore. They were fashionable, these guys. Boots, khakis, medals. They wore this strange little symbol on the side of their arms. They walked around goose-stepping, putting their hands straight up, giving praise to their leader. Their leader is what they called him. The youth would sing songs about him, praising him. The youth movement would get together, and they would decide that what they wanted to do is they wanted to turn their ideals and their thoughts towards the environment. And so they created something called Blutenboden. Blutenboden. It sounds like the beginning of a Def Leppard song. Und ich lieben Blutenboden. That's what it sounds like. But it's not. It's serious. Blutenboden means blood and body, or blood and soil, or blood and science, whichever you want to call it. And the science that they were basically toting in Blutenboden was actually something called fire and ice, proposed by some guy who sold refrigerators and became a scientist. He did a little presentation. It was called Der Inconvenient Truth.